everybody, and welcome to my Phantom Menace showcase video. Now, I do have more Star Wars showcases planned, but I need to finish all the figures before I can showcase them. Duh. But for the Phantom Menace, I decided to make Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. Out of all the characters, they kind of stood out for me, especially when it comes to importance in this movie. And really the only other characters that I thought would make at least a decent project would be Queen Amidala in her natural outfit in the background, or Jar Jar Binks. And I guess Sebulba, I guess he'd be interesting too. But obviously, I would rather jump off a cliff than make Jar Jar Binks. And Sebulba is not exactly a main character. So, yeah. Which then leaves these two, Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn. Both of which, these are really the only saga movies that they appear in. So, that is why they are here. Let's start off with Qui-Gon. The one, the only Liam Neeson playing Qui-Gon Jinn. Now, there are quite a few things to note on this figure. For example, this is really not my head or hair. I didn't do much to them. I just made it a bit more accurate with adding light gray, and I added a bit more depth to the hairpiece. So, if I turn it around really quick, ta-da, it's nothing too special. So, onto these beautiful robes. Qui-Gon is actually the first time I've made full-on Jedi robes like this. I have been working on Clone Wars figs with armor recently, and in order to do that, I use this exact template, but I cut it at about here. So I don't use the entire thing, I only use everything up to the armor. So this was really my first Jedi figure, and I used LegoMatic 9's Jedi tutorial to assist me in taking some direction on where or how to make these robes. And I didn't follow it to a T. I did make about the same templates, but not everything is exactly the same. For example, this fabric is not actually Cape Madness fabric or Lego Pirate Sail fabric that was painted. It is my own store-bought fabric that you can actually find at Walmart, which is pretty great. I then will usually put another, how would you say it, component into the fabric, making it a bit more tense and stable. And I've been doing it differently for any kind that I really need to make. But here's the problem. I don't have this colored paint. The closest thing I have is his skin color, peach. So when it came time to harden the fabric, I turned to glue, specifically this glue, Elmer's Washable Clear. Now, LegoMatic 9 in his tutorial said to use permanent glue. You really don't have to do that. As long as it's wrapped around and tightly secured and you do a good job of gluing, everything should be perfectly fine. Well, at least that's what I've noticed. I used that as the hardening agent instead of paint. I lightly brushed on glue to the tan fabric and then cut it out to the correct shape and glued it down to the minifig. Then this lightsaber is just a black lightsaber handle painted to look a lot more like Qui-Gon's saber. And surprisingly, without this being a custom piece, it did a pretty good job. I've noticed that I don't really have to move much around anymore on lightsabers, or sculpting, I guess, to achieve perfect lightsabers, especially because most of them are pretty skinny, actually, and Qui-Gon's was no exception. So, now that I'm done talking about Qui-Gon, let's go on to Darth Maul. And here is Darth Maul. Now, I've done quite a bit on this guy, but to, clear up some space, let's just finish let's talk about the lightsaber. This is actually version 2 of my Darth Maul lightsaber. How I made it is I cut up 2 lightsaber hilts, put them together, and then this is a Lego bar, a 3-inch, I believe, or a 3 centimeter. Yeah, I think it's centimeters. A 3 centimeter long bar piece. And then these are the sections of the blade under green stuff that I sculpted over to make more secure. And then I added these sections overlapping more recently. So let's get rid of this saber. If he would just let me take it away. There. So, to get it all out of the way, the robes. These robes are done just like Qui-Gon's, except there's less space around here, because here's at least what I noticed. In the first movie, Darth Maul, you can't see a single piece of his skin besides his face and the top of his head. That's it. These robes are done exactly like Qui-Gon's, just a bit more smushed together to accommodate for all the robing he has. And then, the only thing that's really different is the belt piece. Instead of doing what I did for Qui-Gon and having just regular fabric, that is actually E-tape, also known as electrical tape. And what I did is I cut out a bigger strip and then a smaller strip, and I glued the smaller strip in the center to make those 3D rivets in the humongous belt that he has. Then these are robes, obviously, and they were cut from a special template that I technically used from a seller that I got some custom capes from. As you can see on this Obi-Wan, those templates are exactly what I used. And I cut them pretty well, all except for the hood, but that's fine. I don't really want the hood up anyway. I just kind of want it to be there to, represent his actual hood. But I will most likely display him without his hood, just because that head is nice. Speaking of how nice the head is, that is what we're about to talk about next. So, this is just the regular Darth Maul face, and the first thing I did is I chopped off the stud at the top so that I could sculpt a dome over it. And I then took wire and I put it into all of the places where his horns are. Then, after that, I let it all dry, and I then sculpted the horns on top of the wire. But I will say this, the original wire was a lot bigger than it should have been, so I trimmed it a little bit. Because, well, his horns aren't supposed to be that big. They were originally gonna be, like, up to here, I think. Something like that. So, I trimmed it. I'm very glad I did that. But, one of the challenges of this head was actually getting the horns to look right. Because the original plan was to kind of have it just sticking straight up. But if you look at the horn, it kind of goes out and then diagonally up. And that was a bit interesting to actually accomplish. But I think I got it down pretty well. And, yeah, I just kind of repainted the original Darth Maul head with my own paints, just so that everything matched, and I then made a custom mix for his horns. It was definitely interesting to make this Zabrak head, but, not looking forward to the future, because, I'm gonna have to do this 2 more times. And I'm not excited. Probably, I should have said that first. Let's end out the showcase. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the showcase. These 2 figures took me a little bit of time, especially Darth Maul. Darth Maul was the majority. Qui-Gon was just, I guess an accessory? I don't know. But again, if you did enjoy the showcase, please leave a like down below. I am also thinking about doing a bit of a tutorial for how I make my Star Wars figures look how they do, if that makes sense. Doing a tutorial on Jedi robes, maybe, or just, you know, robes. Lightsabers and that. So let me know if you guys actually want me to do that down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!